This is going to be a very nice video. I'm going to answer a question I get pretty often on my apps, and that's how to become a wedding planner. Now, I'm not a wedding planning guy, but it's actually a pretty standard business to start, and the steps to start it are quite known. So, number one, of course, you should have a passion for weddings and things having to do with weddings, okay? So that has to be there, because otherwise you'll feel silly. Number two, you are able to get certified and get some kind of like a 2-year degree in sort of this kind of wedding planning thing. Many community colleges and universities sometimes offer this. It's not even necessary, but it does make you look good to potential people who will hire you, especially if you don't have experience, right? And I'll get to how to manage that situation if you don't have experience, how to like get around it a little later in the video when I talk about marketing. So, and you once you figure out whether you'll get a accreditation or certification in this thing in wedding planning, the next is really you should figure out who will you target as your target market, because people have different weddings, right? I mean, like if you talk about the Indian culture, they have very different weddings than like whatever, the Christian culture or whatever, and like, there's many cultures and they have many nuances. And the thing is that the reason a specific focus is gonna become important is because usually when you have a wedding, most of the people in that wedding are from that community, and they will themselves, many of them themselves, will have weddings in the next years, right? So it's a one way to sort of get recommendations and already become known to your potential future people who might hire you. So you don't have to just focus. If somebody hires you from a different kind of a niche, from a different kind of a culture or whatever, certainly you should try to I mean, you'll take them as a client, of course, but if you really heavily focus on one sort of niche, you'll be able to get more recommendations within that niche. Because it will just be, that density of recommendation will just be a little bit like tighter. So that's something to think about. And also, of course, when you do pick a niche, the more affluent the niche, the more they can spend on wedding planning. So affluence here is important. So you should think about whether the target market you're choosing actually can afford the services, because it's not like an absolute necessity to have a wedding planner if you're in poverty, right? So only try to get people who are middle class and upper class. So the next thing, once you pick your target market, you're gonna want to start to get clients. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, of course you want to get incorporated and all those things. I'll leave that up to you, because you need to, legal things I don't really handle. It's pretty simple, but you gotta do it like with an attorney or whatever. Once you get all that going, the next thing will be getting clients, and really that's gonna be what's gonna make you break your business. Because if you can get clients, great. If you cannot, then there's no business, right? So how do you get clients for this kind of a business? This is a local service. So and if you've seen my videos before, I talk a lot about how to market a local service. There's two ways. The social recommendation and the professional recommendation, the referrals, are going to be extremely important here, because often people who are getting married, they'll ask their friends, and their friends are the same age, and many of them have already been married, and some of them are getting married, and so they know who the wedding planners are. They know who the good ones are, because their friends have used them. So it's actually a kind of a business where the social recommendations are important. So you want to make sure that you kind of are, like, people are sort of recommending you. The other thing is you want to get professional recommendations. And, so like if somebody, you should have certain like wedding photographers or wedding, whatever, wedding cake makers, so that if anybody approaches them, right, and that says, hey, I'm in the middle of the wedding, I'm planning a wedding, I need help, and they can tell you, hey, I know a wedding planner, and they can recommend you. Conversely, if you're the wedding planner more often than not, you will be recommending the photographer or the wedding cake maker or whatever. So those kind of people are going to be very much dependent on you, and often they'll even pay you for the recommendations, right? They'll give you a little commission sometimes. So it's actually one of your revenue streams, is getting those guys recommending like photographers, wedding cake makers, whatever. So you want to have a very strong circle of not just social, like friend recommendations, but also professional referral recommendations. That's going to be really key. And the offline marketing component of this business is really huge and really important. So really focus on it. The recommendations are going to be very important. The next thing is online marketing. Now you will need to have your website, because the website will allow you to be found on Google and stuff like that. When people searching, that may discover your website. The next thing is you want to get your website to be on all the local service websites, because you're a local service business, right? You're a local service. You will provide planning for local weddings, right? Like within the few cities radius. So you want to be on Yelp.com and whatever the local service site that's in your area that's popular, right? So wherever you are in the world, whatever the local service website that's popular there, maybe there's a few, you want to have a listing there, and sometimes those appear on Google itself. So you can rank in Google with your website and through having listings on those sites. And then, of course, you can, because it's a lucrative industry, you can afford to do some paid marketing. You know, so you can do Google AdWords, SEM, stuff like that. So there's a lot of actually ways you can promote. You can do paid marketing, because you get, per client, you make a lot of money. So you can spend money to get clients. So those are some of the key ways. I mean, there's like many ways, but those will be, and of course you want to be social. In this business, you want to be social, you want to be posting pictures, because people like to browse them, and then people start to remember that, and then when they need a wedding planner, they'll be like they'll kind of remember how to like find you again. So you do want to have a social media presence, like on like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, stuff like that, you know. Really beautiful wedding stuff, you know, get people inspired. So you do want to have that actually. Usually I kind of say like, oh, not that necessary, but in this case it's going to be really, you do want that. Not so much even for getting people to learn about you for the first time, but for keeping in touch with people and keeping your business on their radar when they're ready. So that's kind of what I wanted to suggest if you're thinking to start a wedding planning business. I mean, that's kind of it from the beginning to how to get clients. And getting the clients is really important. And of course, I mean, I haven't talked about the quality of the planning. I mean, I have to leave that up to you, right? Because you have to end up in the end, you have to be a good wedding planner, because there's nothing you can do if you're not, right? I can give you all kinds of marketing ideas, but if you're not good, nobody's going to recommend you, right? So you should be able to provide a very high quality level of service. So don't forget that, it's very important. So I'll leave you with those suggestions. So thanks for watching, guys. If this was helpful, please subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you are thinking of starting a business, I created mobile apps which can help you plan and start your business. They cover business ideas, business planning, marketing your business, and raising money for your business. And they're available on Problemio.com, or if you search for Problemio in any of the app stores, iOS, Android, Kindle, Nook, and of course I'll have links to them in the description of this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.